Hey everyone, this is the Consummate Shill, and what I have for you today is a preview of the next project I'm working on, a review of Iratus, Lord of the Dead.
It seems that fate has smiled after all.
The game is in development by Unfrozen and is being published by Daedalic Entertainment, and I say in development because the game just went into early access on July 24th, 2019, and there's a lot of work to be done yet. The devs describe Iratus as a turn-based, tactical, roguelike RPG, and at face value the game looks like a cross between Darkest Dungeon and Slay the Spire, speaking in terms of more modern titles anyway. A lot of people are saying that comparing it to Darkest Dungeon is like comparing apples to oranges, and I would say it's more like comparing a ribeye to a New York strip. From a distance, they look and smell similar, but when you start to dig in, you'll see that they're very different. It's similar to Darkest Dungeon in terms of having 4 character slots on each side of the battlefield, and having an area to construct and upgrade buildings that in turn heal, upgrade, and kit out your characters, but that's where the similarities start to come to an end. The dungeons and paths that you'll traverse are randomly generated, and to be honest, I just got into the genre within the past few years, so I'll compare the actual progression through levels to something like Slay the Spire, where each sort of map and the nodes you go through are randomly generated. You play the role of Iratus, a necromancer who, from what I gather, was just released from his tomb by raiders or something, and he's on a journey to the surface to take over the world. And yes, the rare, evil protagonist. Woo! Now I'm just going to briefly touch on the mechanics because truthfully, I need more time with the game to speak on that with any legitimacy. So the management UI you get is done pretty well. It's easy to navigate and pretty foolproof. You have your graveyard, which is akin to the Darkest Dungeon hamlet with various buildings that you build and upgrade. You have what the devs call a humanarium, which seems like a codex sort of enemy information page. There's a talent tree with 4 sub-trees. Everyone knows what a talent tree is by now. You have an artifact screen where you equip the various artifacts you find in dungeons, some permanent, some single use. You have an alchemy table, which so far has only been used to upgrade the components that you use to create your minions. I'd like to see more done with that, it's pretty interesting. A creation screen where you craft your minions that you use in battle with various components that you find. And finally, you have a map that you use to choose your path through the various levels. Now, the map only has 3 levels unlocked during early access, at least as far as early access goes right now. And there are 2 more that are blacked out that apparently will be unlocked later on when they get them finished or when the game goes live. The combat is really fun so far. I've only played on the lower difficulty at the time of making this video. Just a note that the game forces you to play the tutorial, which is whatever, fine. And it kicks you to the lower difficulty afterwards to allow you to continue that run. And that's what I've done so far. And this difficulty has been relatively trivial, I would say, but I'm hoping that they have it tuned a good bit higher for the other difficulties. It's your pretty typical 4-man team turn-based combat with a stat that determines your speed and the combat queue. Really nothing new here with that. Animations are done great, and there's a lot of unique and synergistic skills on offer, and being on the side of evil and playing essentially monsters as characters, it allows a different perspective, and it's pretty fun for a change. And the monsters allow you to inflict sort of dread and stress damage on the humanoids you're fighting. You know, it's sort of the reverse style of Darkest Dungeon, where now you're the one that can make your enemies go insane and kill them with stress heart attacks, stuff like that.
One less annoyance in the world.
I'm not going to get into any of the intricacies of any of the minions, but I will say that I'm loving the choices so far. In particular, I love the zombie minion. There's a skill where he rotates his cannon back like a mortar, and then the next turn fires a barrage at random enemies, and the animation is hilarious. After positioning the cannon, he caresses it ever so gently until it rains down hell on your enemies.
This never gets old.
And without playing the game more, I really don't want to get too far into anything else, but what I will say is the game is in a fairly good state from what I've seen, and it looks pretty damn promising. I'm excited for the devs to tune everything and polish it up. From what I've read, it's being very actively updated, and it seems like they care about the game and they want to release a good product. The last thing I'll mention is on the main menu, they decided to put advertisements for their other games. It is an early access title, but they're asking $25 for this game. It doesn't affect your gameplay experience, obviously, but advertisements within the main menu of a game you've purchased, come on. So that's all I have for you today, and I'm looking forward to diving deeper into the game and giving a more complete review after I feel I've played enough to responsibly review it. I hope you enjoyed this brief preview, and hopefully you learned something today about Iratus, Lord of the Dead. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content and you'd like to see more content like it for other games, and let me know what you thought about the video in the comments, or what you'd like to see in the future. Thanks for watching.
This one voided its bowels just as it died.